lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippy Canoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME scoops.com. Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, the fine print's out of the way. It's time to roll with the show. We're back and we're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. And some of us are definitely cooler than others. I see that comment in the chat there, Bill. I don't think anybody forgot to pay the heat bill. We just, we need to get a memo into Mother Nature. Pipe some of that sunshine up from Florida or something. Links in the description. First and foremost, our friends over at Shooters and Prospectors, our friends at DetectEase.com, and this is definitely the right time for those DetectEase hoodies. Definitely wearing mine trying to stay warm in the studio tonight. It's a little on the chilly side for us here in Ohio. Our friends at XP Team USA, Facebook group, website, podcast every other Friday, formerly known as the Team USA Podcast. Now they call themselves the Metal Detecting Podcast. The links for our friends at Metal Detecting NYC, All Metal Militia, Facebook group and YouTube channel, Ohio Metal Detecting on YouTube, the Great Metal Detecting Christmas giveaway for kids ages 5 to 15, which we are still currently taking donations for. I know I sent a package down to Barb right before DIV, and she should have, well, she's got it. I don't know if she'll post about it, but she does have it, so we do have some extra little odds and ends for the kids that are going to be in the contests and giveaways. Other than that, I think the last links we have to cover are obviously the YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook page for MISSDETECTORIST. Obviously, those that were listening Oh, Sunday we did announce that we would be having Maya back on the show, and I do believe that obviously those that were watching Facebook wound up seeing that Maya was spreading the link around quite a bit. I know I hit it in a few places, and Dr. Tones is in the chat. Welcome aboard. So, speaking of the chat also, we see that the Bills are in, Barb's in, Taylor is in. Good grief. You guys and gals, Maya's in there as well. There's Travis, welcome aboard. Everybody's already got the chat blowing up, so I'll try and keep track of what I can. Still a little on the slow side though from yesterday's adventure. So we'll see. But either way, welcome aboard to Dr. Tones. Been a while since we've seen him on the show. And there's Bob dropping in, so we should probably get moving on with everything and get Maya in here too. How's it going tonight, Maya?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. What is the weather like in your area?
It is very, very cold. I think it's 16 now. Oh, actually, you know what? We've had a heat wave. It's 22 Fahrenheit.
Wow. Well, there
but
you
it feels
go.
like 12, apparently, according to this weather app.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at the weather app on my phone. It just keeps aggravating me anyway. All I know is it's cold. I don't think it's not cold enough that the ground's froze solid yet, but
not yet.
It's definitely along that way where it's moving that direction, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Let's see here. Amphibious detecting. Welcome aboard. And Taylor, I wonder if that may be the Taylor from our bottle show.
It is. That is indeed Taylor, R.I. Relic. Or R.I. Bottle Digger. R.I. Bottle Guy, my goodness.
Right.
One of those days. I'm already out to my Porky Pig stage. Can't even talk.
Exactly what she said. R.I. Bottle Guy. That's what she said. Sure, I heard it all. There's Pear as well.
Portable TNT, I like it.
Yeah. Let's see. Pear actually just recently booked himself a hunt back east. I believe he plans on attending the next Bone event.
Oh.
Yeah. Speaking of events, you've been quite the busy person this year. You were on the show back in January, just as you were launching the YouTube, just as you were launching your first video on YouTube. I mean, you've had your YouTube account for some time, but we're fixing to launch the first video, and then you were off to, the Penguin Dig. You've done the Penguin Dig, I believe, Bone, Pound the Ground, some Civil War relic shows. What all events have you hit this year? You've been kind of bopping all over the country.
I'm everywhere. No, I think you got them all. Bone, Pound the Ground. I was at the American Digger magazine show in Chattanooga. Penguin Dig. I know I'm going to forget something or feel really bad about it. Oh, I was at a really cool dig, actually locally in New Hampshire, that was put on. Granite State Treasure Hunters, everybody. They're awesome.
Nice.
I'm sure there's some more, but yeah, I've been very busy.
Wow, and there's Taylor's buddy Jim in the chat too.
Got a lot of bottle diggers here.
I guess. Yeah, it seems like it brought the bottle diggers right back in again. And you even made some time to get out and dig earlier this year with some of the gang from All Metal Militia.
Yes, yeah, that was earlier in the summer.
Nice. Although, that was one of their earlier videos. I don't believe you've had the opportunity to make it back that direction since then.
No, I haven't been out quite that far. I've been doing a lot of a little bit more southern digging, I guess, and a little bit more. I've been doing some bottle digging, as you guys will probably see coming up in some videos. Been focusing on a lot of the older colonial sort of stuff and Civil War stuff, so I haven't really been out too far over that way. It's actually, Rhode Island is closer to me than they are. It's actually, even though we're both in New Hampshire, they're a lot farther away from me.
Right.
Because I'm on the other side entirely of New Hampshire.
Wow.
But I'm sure I'll get that way once it thaws out over there.
Right, yeah, and with the way the temperature's been dropping, I don't know, we may be in for a hard freeze this year. It may not be until April or so before you get out again once the ground freezes.
Well, there's ways around that. I'll tell you that much. As they're saying, TNT, ooh, looks like Doug figured out how to use the chat. Woohoo! Glad to have you here, Doug. Yeah, but aside from TNT, I've found that if you go and you dig in the woods, that actually having the leaves there on the ground and actually having a few inches of snow actually helps too. It insulates a little bit and keeps the ground from freezing too deep. A lot of times I'll find it's about 2 inches frozen. And then after that, it's just same as regular dirt.
Right, yeah, absolutely. The ground cover and the snow can even help from time to time, depending on the area, for sure. And it looks like we've just got them all fired up in the chat about bottle diggers.
Flamethrower, they're saying, yes. You know, I went as far as to ask people who dig posts, you know, what do you do? How do you dig your holes in the winter? You know, if you have to go out and that's your job, or you're, you know, digging graves and things, you know, how do you dig into the ground? And they said, charcoal. So that's interesting. I wonder how I'd bring charcoal up a mountain to a cellar hole.
Yeah, it makes it a little hard when you're trying to travel light.
Yes.
I mean, that's what kind of axes the flamethrower or the backhoe or any of that other, but I don't know. Charcoal may be an option. Maybe.
It does sound easier than a backhoe.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And Doug's excited himself to have figured out the chat again the way it sounds. Oh, good. And there's Riley. Quite a few people dropping in here. So, back in January, I think you were just starting to basically get into the Equinox. You had been using the CTX, you had picked up the Equinox as well, and you were just starting to get some time in on that machine. Now you've had, 10 months of, I'm assuming, very regular hunting based on the way you're putting out videos. What are your thoughts on the Equinox now?
Yeah, so I actually, I've been, like I said, you know, I've been bopping back and forth between that and the AT Max, and, you know, the CTX as well. And I do really like, the Equinox. I've found that it's really nice for, well, first of all, it's really incredibly light, which is awesome, especially if you're going to be hiking all over the place or traveling all over.
Especially after swinging a CTX. The Equinox is nice and light.
Like a feather.
Absolutely.
So that's nice. And I find that it does really well in iron, which I do a lot of cellar hole hunting. And, you know, being in New England, pretty much everything is covered in iron, so I really like that. So it's been a good little machine for me.
Right. Do you notice yourself changing it up quite a bit, or do you have a preferred mode or settings that you run with the Equinox when you're in the iron?
So I change it up a little bit. And I know I'm probably not running it how I should, and everybody will say, "Oh my, whatever." But I tend to run Park 1 and Park 2. I do modify them. I pretty much, when I'm in iron, I'll crank up the recovery speed a little bit. I drop down my iron bias to 2, and swing slow, and that actually goes pretty well for me. I can hear every good signal through that iron. And I'll swap into the 50 tones if, I think I'm missing something, but I'm not usually.
Nice.
So
you didn't,
works. It's,
with using the CTX, then you didn't have much of a problem acclimating to the Equinox or the 50 tone system.
No, not at all. And honestly, I don't think it's, I think pretty much anybody there's things that are different, but if you've swung a Mind Lab before, it's not too tricky.
Right.
It's just getting used to the different interfaces.
Yeah, pretty much, I would say. That was one of the things that I really kind of missed at first when I went to the Deus. It's like, man, where's those Mind Lab tones that I'm used to? If they could have came out, if they could have came out with an update to make the Deus work like a Deus but sound like a Mind Lab, I'd been set. So it took a little while getting used to the audio of the Deus, and then when I picked up the Equinox, it was like an old hat or something. I remember this. I missed this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a pretty sound.
Right. Some people, they don't care for it much, but those that have used Mind Labs for quite some time are very, very accustomed to it.
It's, I think it's all what you get used to.
Yeah, when you're not hearing it, it's like, something's just, it's not the same. Still a good machine though. Doesn't mean I'm gonna set my Deus down, but, I kind of swap back and forth myself between the, Deus and the Equinox. Both of them are good. Which I've seen, I'm sure you've probably even had the opportunity to play around with the Deus a little bit yourself, hunting with Riley.
Not as much as you'd think. It's hard to, get him to stop digging bullets long enough to check out the machine. But,
okay.
I've seen it in action.
Right, yeah. Very respectable depth and everything. I can remember the first time somebody tried to hand me one. I'm just kind of, I'm looking at it and I'm going, no, here, take it back. I'm afraid I'm going to break it. They look like toys.
They do, and they feel like toys, but I've seen them get beat up quite a bit and have not seen a broken Deus yet. So that's got to be something good going on there.
Oh, absolutely. They're built like tanks and very, very good depth, as well as target separation. That's kind of the beauty of what we're gaining in the advancement, the racing technology. You see them using the Equinox, the Deus. Some people are really liking the AT Max, or there's still some out there that they still swear to their AT Pros. But I still say that for the AT Pro users, the Equinox has got a little bit of an edge in the iron.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, I think a big thing is where you swing, what you're searching for, what you're used to, where you come from with it, and what your soil is too. I'll have machines that work great, and, some machines won't work well in Virginia, some machines will. Some machines won't do well with sellers, and some will do better. It just kind of depends on where you're hunting and what you're using it for, I'd say.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Looks like, what is that? Looks like Dr. Tones is sharing his settings in the chat.
Oh, I get it. That's funny, Brandon. That's funny. I love it. Anybody who's in the YouTube and videography, photography realm, any other YouTubers out there will get Brandon's joke here. It's pretty funny.
Right. And I do see there are a number of YouTubers in here tonight.
Yes.
Yourself, Dr. Tones, Riley's in,
just about all these guys. Taylor, Rocky.
Yeah, Taylor, Rocky,
Jonas, Doug. Yep. Jim.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Jim's got his YouTube channel too, Montshire Digger.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I'm sure there's more. If you also have a YouTube and I missed you, comment in here.
Right, yeah, why not? Go ahead and throw the links for the channels in there.
Why not? Yeah.
Ohio Relic Hunter and Barb, they both got YouTube channels too, although...
Amphibious Detecting says he does.
Yeah. Which it's quite possible. I'm not... Unfortunately, I'm sad to say I'm not real familiar with that name, but I'm sure it coincides with a YouTube channel. And then, I think I saw, Scott's in there. He's got his YouTube channel, Treasure Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
There's another relatively new YouTube channel. And yours, once you uploaded that first video, it looked like you really picked up some steam. When you put that first video up, did you ever think, because now here we are, you're over 3,300 subscribers. Did you ever think it'd go that far or that fast?
Not a chance. I mean, I figured some people would watch it, and I figured maybe eventually I'd get, like a little bit of a steady following, but I had the Instagram for a while before that, and I had worked really, really hard to get that Instagram over 1,000. And I remember the day that my YouTube passed my Instagram, and I was like, what is going on? I had no idea.
Well, and I'm sure it may help too when you've got channels out there featuring the growing YouTube channels, like Metal Detecting NYC does his top 1,000 YouTube metal detecting channels once a month, something like that. Definitely, it certainly can't hurt anyway.
Yeah, that definitely helps. And I didn't even realize sometimes that I was on those things. Like I actually feel kind of bad saying this, but I didn't realize I was on his channel until he commented on one of my videos saying that his daughter was like my biggest fan. And I had no clue that there were even these metal detecting YouTuber sort of ranking videos.
I do remember that. We had Merrill on the show some time back now, and he had mentioned, he had commented on one of your videos about his daughter being like the biggest fan. Doesn't want to watch his videos, but she'll watch yours all day long. And apparently you had picked up on that comment and got in contact with him and sent him out a nice package for his daughter. Very cool.
Yeah, that was something I really wanted to do. I thought that was so cool that, somebody was out there watching and appreciating it, and, particularly young people, because, I'm kind of young and I like being able to get other, young people into the history and into being outside and digging and getting their hands dirty. I think it's good. I think there's too much of that, staying inside, video games, all that. So to see that I could, help another young girl get into it was awesome.
Right. Who knows the number of people that your videos are inspiring to get into the hobby now. I'm sure you probably get messages on a fairly regular basis, I would think.
I do get a fair amount of messages. Not a ton. But I do get them. I get, comments, messages, people inviting me to dig. Looks like Lou came in. Here we got Shannon as well.
Yeah, there's
Emily's
Lou.
actually, I guess it's Emily posting under Shannon. I got to meet Emily down at the Chattanooga show. Emily from Little Dirt Diggers.
Well, that had to have been kind of an interesting experience for you.
Yeah, that was very cool because I've seen her on YouTube.
Nice. So was that kind of one of the big things for you this year, going to some of these different events and such, being able to put faces to names, so to speak, and meet some of these people that maybe you've followed on YouTube yourself for a while?
Yeah, that's been very cool for me to kind of get to actually meet people. I got to meet Sean, Sergeant Whitey, and he's really cool. Got to meet him down there. I've met all sorts of people. Some people that I've actually been pretty close with, I still haven't met, like Brandon. To tell him to come up here, calling you out.
He stays pretty busy.
He's a busy man. Yes, he is. But one of these days he's gonna have to come up. So.
Well, then, yeah, you never are quite sure where he's gonna turn up next.
No. Yes. It's good.
I think
keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, most recently he's been out in Hawaii a couple of times. Enjoying that weather.
Yes, somebody needs, he says he's broke. Somebody needs to sponsor Brandon and get him to come over here.
Oh, come on. He's selling metal detectors and got the book. And...
You know what? I have a better idea. Somebody can send me over there to see Brandon.
There you go. Maybe the weather will be a little better.
Yeah, that's what I'm crossing my fingers for.
Right. Of course, the way it's getting, maybe everybody should just meet up in Hawaii or Florida, something like that.
Yeah, we were saying we should all just migrate south for the winter.
Exactly. Right. That way you can continue to dig. Some of the listeners don't realize, I mean, for your area, there is a definite end to hunting season at some point. We all get locked out for the year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping this year will be like last year. Because last year it was so mild that I just hunted, I think I probably had 2 weekends that I couldn't hunt. So, and I mean, I'm crazy when it comes to winter digging, but, I don't know. This year I have a not great feeling about it. Knock on some wood there, but, I don't know if we'll be as lucky.
Yeah, I don't think we will be, unfortunately. It'd be nice, but I don't know. I just don't see it in the cards this year.
Oh, I'm getting invited to go hunt with Emily down there. There you go.
Well,
see there.
Yeah, that weather's got to be better. You're getting far enough south there where that shouldn't be bad. That could be done.
Yep. Just follow the treasure, follow the weather, right?
Right, yeah. Well, especially if you're wanting to dig all year round. I don't remember. We've had Lou on the show before. I don't remember what he had said. I'm pretty sure he tries to dig all year round, if at all possible.
Yes. Lou is actually not that far away from me. I've dug with Lou before. He's in one of my videos.
He's a maniac.
He is. He's right up there with me in his
yeah,
in his digging habits.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not even sure what the count is on his coppers this year, but good grief, that guy finds an ungodly amount of coppers.
He really does.
Between
sometimes I'm like, man, it's just raining coppers around Lou.
Right, yeah. Between him and Kendall, they both seem to find quite their fair share.
They're in like really, really good areas over there. I try to give them some space and not, go over there too much, but they've got some good ground. And they'll talk to anybody, so that also helps.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Apparently though, maybe their areas, they're just getting into the right spots, or they're not hit quite as hard as yours.
Yes. That's very, yes.
So,
very much.
What, since, since you were back on the show in January, I know there was still kind of quite a bucket list, but you've made some pretty good finds over the last 9-10 months. Is there anything left that you're going, I'd love to find this. I can't wait.
Yes. So there's, of course, things that I should have, you feel like I should have found that already. Like, what am I doing? It's like Barb and the, the Indians.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's one of those things. It's like, come on, man. So that would be my biggest, beast recently has been a Connecticut copper. Can you believe I have not dug a Connecticut copper? I've dug just about everything else. That and a Civil War eagle button. I have not dug a Civil War eagle button. I've dug non-Civil War eagle buttons, and I've dug a super rare Confederate Arkansas, Staff Officers Arkansas button, but I haven't dug an eagle button from the Civil War.
Oh, come on. You gotta get on to some more of them sites with Riley.
I know. But I just gotta run a little faster, I think. Make sure I can get some before he digs them up.
Well, yeah, that could be too. Gotta move a little quicker, but, if you don't get your coil over it, you're not gonna find it. Maybe it's not there.
Could be. Tell Riley to work on the sites. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Nah. So I think those are my two. That, and of course, everybody wants a tree coin, as we call it. Find early silver, like a pine tree shilling, or willow tree, or that's like the dream.
They are still out there. I've seen a few people find them this year.
I've seen a lot coming out of the ground recently, like a lot. That and GW buttons, right and left. It's like. So I think I should be able to get a Connecticut copper.
Well, it's coming, I'm sure. Maybe next year.
Yeah. I figure if I dig a pine tree before I dig a Connecticut, it'll be okay. I'll be all right.
Right, yeah. I don't think I'd cry over that too much.
No, that's how I feel with my eagle buttons and my Arkansas. So I'm okay.
Right. And I'm sure putting these into display cases, maybe even taking them around to show somewhere.
Yeah, so actually the GW button, as well as the Arkansas and my 1694 William and Mary British halfpenny, made it all the way down to Chattanooga, Tennessee, for the American Digger Civil War Relic Show. So that, we're saying I dug 18 GW buttons. That is not the case, Rocky. I wish.
No, that's Dave Wise.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've been able to show them. I did try to I dug something really, really cool this year, which debatably may be my coolest find. But I dug between the late 1700s, early War of 1812 period, little flintlock pocket pistol. I dug that earlier this year, and I wanted to bring it to the Chattanooga show, but I was a little hesitant on getting that through TSA and all, so I didn't end up bringing it. But hopefully we'll see it at some shows up here in New England. Should be a little easier to get it there.
Right, yeah, you would think. I don't know. TSA, they can kind of frown upon some of that sometimes.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to risk losing that, you know. It's not something...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't blame you there at all. I know a few years back I was out at the treasure show in Taunton, Massachusetts, and that was kind of the big thing as we were packing for the flight. It's like, well, they want some finds to be there, but, you know, I gotta be selective here, because some of this I don't really want to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was very nervous bringing the GW button with me. I actually carried it on my back the whole time on the airplane, that and, you know, the coppers. But I don't know, that pistol, that makes me nervous.
Right, yeah. Well, you know,
it's maybe
fragile. Maybe bone.
I could see it working at bone. I could definitely see that.
So I assume you plan on attending Bone next year?
I am thinking so, as long as the cards align and, you know, the boss gives the A-OK. I should be there. That's the plan.
And the penguin dig?
Penguin dig, of course. That one's easy enough, because that's just, you know, one day. Should be able to handle that. Plus a meet and greet, so...
I did hear from a few people you were pretty easy to spot at the penguin dig, the last penguin dig, the one this past February, because you were there with Beyond Sight and Sound hoodie, I guess.
I was repping, yep. I was showing off for sure.
Yeah, Doug said he spotted you. Right? Yeah, little too chilly there for the penguin dig for my tastes. But that's the way it goes. I guess that's why we've got those hoodies.
Yeah, it's part of the experience, I think. It's, you know.
Right.
You know you're hardcore when you're out there freezing and, you know, digging in sand in the middle of the winter.
Well, I can say that much for the event at least. Doug and the gang really do put in a lot of effort to pulling that off, and they always have such a good turnout.
He runs an awesome event. I hope that he never ever stops it, because it is a lot of fun, and it's all free. All you do is you show up and you bring a
right,
gift.
Your Yankee swap.
You bring your Yankee swap gift, and it's amazing. They do the whole thing with, you know, volunteers and everybody pitching in. It's great. Yeah, you're welcome, Doug. You do great. You really do.
I take it Doug must be in there somewhere going, oh, thanks.
He sure is. Very humble. No, it's great. It really is. We always have a lot of fun.
When he starts hitting people up for donations this year, he's going to have to remember and include the proper address. I think he's relocated.
Uh-oh. I'll have to send me that new address so I can send some more Roman coins.
Yeah, I believe I thought I saw a post not at some point this year that he had moved. So I don't know. Note to Doug, make sure and include the right address if you want the donations to get there this time around. I know for a lot of people, wherever it was he was having them sent before, I guess his mailman and everybody else's post office across the country were just having a field day with that address. It was a little tricky. It was a little tricky. But even on top of the other events and stuff, you've also had the opportunity to make a few more appearances on some podcasts.
Yes. So of course I was on yours, and then I was on Relic Radio. And I think that's it, actually. I haven't really been on anything else.
I was thinking you've been on Relics Radio a couple of times now at this point, but still.
No, just the once.
Kind of making the circuit come a long ways from just the Facebook page and Instagram. Now you've got the the public appearances you're doing, basically, with the podcasts and showing up on other people's videos. Busy, busy, busy.
Yeah, we have way too much fun. We really do.
But you're still finding time to get the research in.
Yes. Sometimes.
Uh-oh.
So it almost feels like sometimes we take turns, like I'll go and I'll research a site and get a site. And then, and I have friends, I dig with locally and, but we'll just kind of bop around sites, and it's really just kind of seizing the opportunity. Like I saw a house getting knocked down, so I just stopped and slammed on the brakes, backed up, asked to dig there. And sometimes you just got to act on it. But
right, definitely. And I believe when we had you on back in January, we had talked a little bit about permissions. Have you found it being any easier or more difficult for you, or how do you go about getting your permissions for people that may be interested?
So, I still always get nervous before I ask, because that's just, it's how it's gonna be probably forever. But,
I'm just not like Lou.
Yeah, I'm just not like Lou, but I channel my inner Lou. I've honestly, from digging with all these amazing people all over the country, I've been able to learn a ton. And that's the biggest reason I've been, going all over the place, is to, learn and get to meet people. And I've learned a lot about knocking and kind of how to say it. And yeah, I don't say "let me dig" or else, Lou, but that might work. I don't know. But really, I've found from watching people and from trying myself that really the best way to do it, and it sounds cheesy, but best way to do it is kind of share with the people why you love it and what you love about it. And if you just kind of explain to them, like, hey, I'm into history and this is what I'm doing. I'm not trying to look for lost rings in your yard and make a quick buck or whatever. It's about history. Then they're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Right. Do you find yourself ever asking them, because sometimes if they have lost a ring, that may be you're in. Well, hey, if I find it.
Yeah, I usually, pretty much every time I get a permission, I'll say, hey, is there anything you've lost? Just as kind of just a extra little service, something to help, if I can help them, and every time I find something that, just last weekend I found a key that looked like it could have possibly been current. So I brought it up and said, hey, did you lose this? Of course, they hadn't this time, but I've had it happen before where people are like, oh my gosh, that's the key to the shed, or that's the key to, the tractor, and I've been missing that. Oh my gosh, So, every little thing helps for sure.
Right. Well, the way it sounds, you're soaking up all this information that you've been learning this year like a sponge. As that, I'm sure that's not solely just about permissions and trying to gain permissions. What about cleaning and preservation? Have you learned anything along that avenue since the beginning of the year?
I've learned so much. It's like, I don't even think I can fit everything into this podcast. So much. I'll have to make some videos about it. I actually plan to in the winter. But yeah, I've learned a lot about what not to do with coppers. I've learned that it's okay to wash things, which when I first started, I would just take a dirty thing and just blow on it and then put it in a box, and that would be it. And I would be too scared to touch it after ruining my first copper that I ruined. But I have since learned that you can wash things with water. It's going to be okay. You can lightly brush things in a controlled environment with a soft toothbrush. And I've learned to coat things with Ren wax when applicable. I've learned about cleaning bottles recently from Taylor. I've learned a lot. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. My goodness. Nice.
So the way it sounds, you're expanding more then, and you're getting into bottle digging.
I am getting into bottle digging. I actually, interestingly enough, kind of started sort of kind of started there without even realizing that I was starting there. I've always been obsessed with cellar holes. And I think we talked about it when I was first on your show. That's pretty much what I was doing. And the thing with cellar holes, when you're first learning to use your machine, it's kind of hard to detect them.
It's not as easy. Frustrating side.
Yeah, it's not as easy as, stealth diggers, and everybody makes it look like there's a lot of iron. There's a lot of, most of them are totally trashed and full of modern trash. So it's a lot of sifting through things. So I started kind of digging up bottles in there, and got pretty interested in it. And so when I kind of learned about that it's actually a thing that people do is go bottle digging, I got really into that. And I met Taylor. He was actually one of those people who sent me a Facebook message, reached out to me, and we ended up going bottle digging. And I've since gotten pretty into it. It's something you can do when the ground's frozen, I'm told.
Right? Yeah.
So.
True. So any very nice bottle finds along the way so far?
So far, the one that they're really, oh goodness, it's a crystal bluing. Taylor, help me out here. I don't know if he's still here, but I got one bottle that's usually in a clear, and it was in a blue, and that was pretty cool.
Nice.
I've gotten some local bottles, some different things that, nothing too crazy yet, but, I'm getting a question here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes. Sawyer's Crystal Bluing. Taylor is there. Thank you, Taylor.
Aha. Nice.
Tom says, tuning in late, Maya. Do you have a 9 to 5 or are you a full-time relic hunter? I wish I was a full-time relic hunter.
I'm as full-time as I can be.
Yes. I have a 7 to whenever, 6:30 to whenever job. So I do not get to dig full-time yet. But if anybody can figure out how I can do that, let me know.
Right, we're all working on that.
Yes.
Somewhere along the line, it seems like.
If anybody wants to share the secrets, we are listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to put all the tips in the chat. So, among the other things you've learned then, have you been adding to your research library? Say, any additional books on bottles or coins or even maps?
Well, I've gotten all sorts of various different books. I've really been, honestly, Josh, the biggest resource I've found is the people that I've been digging with. I know.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're probably going, well, when it comes to Civil War, I just shoot Riley a text.
I don't really need anything anymore. I mean, I could get a book and look it up, or I could just shoot a text to Riley or Taylor and just know in 5 minutes. I mean, it sounds horrible to say that, but and once I get info from them, I'll actually screenshot it and save it and try to remember it or write it down somewhere so I can not ask them the same thing over and over again. Sometimes I do, but
Well, still, I mean, that's the great thing with technology, the ID Me pages and
it's awesome.
The text messages that you can just shoot off to somebody while you're in the field and know by the time you get home what you've got.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole new world. It's amazing. The world just got so much bigger and so much smaller at the same time. Well, the internet and everybody, it's great.
I know if I remember right, one of the big questions that had came up during the bottle digging show when Jim and Taylor were on, there were a couple of people that wanted to know if you've got any interest in prospecting.
Yes. So I honestly hadn't really thought of it before. I mean, I guess I thought of it before, but it wasn't on the top of my agenda. But you know, when I was a little kid, we went up to this mine. We used to go over to this mine that they have in western New Hampshire. Actually, I think it's Vermont. I don't remember. Ruggles Mine, and we used to go and look for garnets. And
there you go.
Yeah, it was fun just hacking into the rocks looking for that. So I imagine it must be a similar sort of deal. Or I know you can pan for gold as well. But prospecting, I believe, is you're actually whacking at rocks trying to find gold. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in that. I think it sounds fun.
Well, and with the, sounds like you've got a little bit of experience there for the fossicking for gems and everything. Any plans on maybe making the trip up to Herkimer?
Herkimer? I haven't actually heard of it.
Really? Up to Herkimer Diamond Mines in New York?
No. I probably should have, huh?
Yeah, you may want to look into that. That may not be all that far from you. I mean, they're not actually diamonds. I mean, they call them Herkimer diamonds, but they're not technically diamonds. Although they do still they are quite sought after.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
it's probably farther than we think, because it turns out New York is huge.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's true too. It's not like it would be necessarily a day trip or anything.
No. But it might be. I might be able to drive it in one day at least. Drove through. Yeah, I don't know.
Might be something to look into, though. I mean, I believe it's still a pay dig site. But you never know what you could come up with.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be interested in it. I think it sounds fun. Yeah. Anywhere I can go and get my hands dirty and find stuff, it's great.
So for you, it's just the allure of discovery.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is discovering something that was unknown or lost. I mean, really a huge part of it is history for me, but it's still that, you know, discovery of that thing and learning about it and that aha moment, you know, wow, this is here. I had no idea, that kind of feeling.
Right, and then it's a few minutes later, it's like, oh, I gotta find another one. I need that. It's like a drug. I need that fix again.
I try to hold on to it longer than that, but you know, it does happen that way sometimes. I have to slow myself down and just be like, all right, you know, Maya, you found some cool stuff. Chillax, relax. It's good.
Right, yeah. Be happy with what you've got.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing, the stuff you can just find in the ground.
Absolutely. I mean, and whether it's, you know, 6 months old, 600 years old, it's still history.
Yeah, that's one thing too that people tease me about sometimes. They're like, oh, you get so excited over digging a nail, like whatever. But you know, honestly, that's the thing, is all of it is a piece of history. Whether it's, you know, somebody put that there 100 years ago, even if it's just a square nail, you know, that's a hand forged nail that somebody went out and got that iron and they made that nail and they stuck it in that, you know, wall that is no longer there. It was somebody's house. Like, I just think that's so cool.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, not to mention the fact, I'm sure that hunting the cellar holes and everything, you've seen enough nails that they've got a story to tell too. A lot of these you can use to help date the site.
Yeah, I see. That's one thing too that, again, people are like, why are you getting excited for nails? I love finding nails. Some of the cellar holes that I find are like impossible to tell that they're there. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the cellar hole video where I'm finding the 1600s coin, but I say in it too, you know, I'm digging and I found brick. That was my first indicator that it really was a cellar, because other than that, you really can't tell. It wasn't on any maps. You couldn't see. It was just a little tiny divot in the ground with some rocks. And finding that little bit of brick and those nails, that was just awesome.
Or even kind of put the coil to the ground a little bit and listen for the iron. Iron leads the way to occupation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but even some of those sites, there's not nearly as much iron as you would expect. Just because, I mean,
no, especially some of them
early,
and especially some of them that have really been pounded.
Yeah, there are cellars you can go to, and there's nothing. There's not even a nail because people will dig everything.
Right. Go up through there and, oh yeah, Dave's been here, or Lou's been here. Or...
No, more like Texas Terry. I don't know if you know him. But
yeah.
He was up at the bone hunt. He will take all of the dirt out of a cellar hole, layer by layer, sift through all of it, take it all out. That's the kind of people, that's what I would love to do that if I had, enough time. If I could just find a good cellar and just sift it and go right through. Because that's how you find some really good stuff under all those nails that everybody skips or misses.
Oh, absolutely. Not to mention the fact that I'm sure with you getting into bottle digging and everything as well, there's plenty of stuff there in the ground that you're not going to find with a metal detector. Either because it's not metallic, or it's just being completely masked.
Yes. Yeah. I've definitely found some cool stuff that's not metallic. As well.
So when you were out digging with Taylor, I guess, doing some bottle digging, were you just mainly digging, or were you guys doing any probing?
Mainly just digging, because Taylor tends to know where the bottle dumps are. Yeah.
Right.
I find that, like, if we ever stumble on something, it's usually from detecting. I haven't really gone probing. I have a bottle probe. I've tried using it before, but not with Taylor, but I was out with somebody else, and we were just not in a spot that had bottles, so that kind of wasn't very helpful.
Went to the wayside, so to speak.
Yeah. Part of the bottle probing is you have to be somewhere that there are bottles, so...
Well, probing in general, you never know what you're going to run across.
True. Very true. That's another thing I want to get into, that, magnet fishing. Now I got to try the prospecting. Getting a list going.
It sounds like you've got quite a bit there that you're looking to get into when you've got the time to actually focus on it, I guess.
Yes, I have quite the agenda.
And now it sounds like you've been running the AT Max for a while. What do you think about some of these new machines that we've seen coming out, like the Amphibio or the Simplex?
So I haven't gotten to try out the Simplex or the Amphibio yet. I didn't get to. I was too busy digging tons of coppers at Pound the Ground to come over and try out any of the machines. I would have liked to have checked them out, but when you're digging, like, we got on a copper spill over there, and I just couldn't pull myself away to go check out the Simplex. But I did hear that everybody was saying that it was getting really, really deep signals, which is always cool for people in New England, where you were hunting sites that have been hunted like crazy. So I'd love to try that.
Right. And I'm sure you've probably seen some YouTube or some Facebook videos of people with it.
Yeah. It looks like it's been, doing pretty good.
Nice. But so far, in terms of what you are using, you seem to be liking the Max then.
Yeah, I am liking the Max. It's definitely, I feel like with the Max, I get a lot of depth, which I like a lot. And it's very, very clear. That's the thing that I find with, like, the Max, is it just screams at you when you've got a good signal. There's not really as much of a guessing sort of thing, if that makes sense, which sometimes
right.
It's not always as clear.
Right. I assume kind of like when the Equinox is able to say, pull a non-ferrous target out of all the iron.
Yeah.
You may not know what that target's going to be based on the compressed VDI scale of the Equinox, but you can definitely tell it is not ferrous.
Well, sometimes.
Well, okay, iron shank buttons excluded.
Yes.
Or the iron back buttons. I hear that those they're a little confusing for some of the Equinox users.
I still find they have a chirp a lot of times that is a pretty distinct chirp. But, yeah.
Nice. Do you seem to think using the Equinox as long as you have now, how long have you been using the Max?
I haven't been using the Max nearly as long. So I can't give my full view on it yet, fairly, because I've definitely been using the Nox a lot longer, like you said. I've been using the Max, I don't know, about half a year. Less than that, probably, actually.
Seems to be fairly decently balanced for you, though.
Yeah. Yeah, actually. It's different using, as far as handling, you mean balanced?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very different for me trying, with the little, the S-bend, shafts, just because I'm used to the Mind Labs that are the straight shafts, so that's a little different. But, I mean, it's lighter than a CTX.
Well,
so
yeah. It's been, I haven't really noticed it so much with the Max, but it's been my experience, with, say, the AT Pro, the AT Gold, they're a little front heavy.
Yeah, I think the little S bend sort of helps with that. I tend to I have the smaller coil on it, so that helps with that. But again, I mean, I lift paint for a living, so I'm not too fazed by it. That's my day job, everybody. There you go.
Well then. Keeps you in shape for out in the field.
Sure does, yes. I need a simplex, they're saying.
Need to go just a little, well, I don't know. It's not necessarily that it would be a little lighter. If I remember right, that's right there in the same weight class as the Equinox. I think they're both just under 3 pounds. I want to say 2.9 maybe on the Simplex, which should be right there the same as the Equinox. Still not as light as the Deus, but I don't know. That Simplex is definitely intriguing. The features and performance at that price point, I've not seen a manufacturer do yet, up to the release of the Simplex.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to try it yet, so jury's out, but I'll definitely, hopefully, try one. Because I haven't, like you said, that's a pretty impressive feat to be able to have that in that price range.
So moving forward, if we get that big freeze earlier than we'd like, how does Maya plan on spending her downtime?
Probably editing all the footage that I've been neglecting editing.
Oh, you've got quite a bit in the archives, so to speak.
Oh my goodness, I feel so bad for my poor subscribers. I have been very neglectful on the video front, and I apologize to everybody because I've been working very hard at getting out there and getting footage so I can keep it going through the winter. I also haven't been cleaning all my finds either. It's a problem.
Well, it sounds like you've got plenty to do this winter then, between working and editing on your videos and maybe even putting up some videos about cleaning and preservation of the different items you've found. I guess if you're not even cleaning them, you've got plenty of material to work with, so to speak.
Yeah. I've been digging things too fast. It's been... I guess it's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, I don't
Lou
see a
says
problem.
he hears me. Lou's
Right.
like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, only Lou's going out and trying to squeeze it into 30 minutes.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. See, I wish I had a job where I could like show up like all, covered in dirt, but I don't think they'd appreciate it as much.
No, probably not. And when you were on back in January, you were just starting, like I said, you were fixing to launch your first video within days. Has anything changed there? What sort of cameras and editing software do you use?
Oh, I have ramped up quite a bit. So I originally started with a combination of the cell phone and I had Olympus TG5, which I had gotten lost when I was down in Chattanooga, which is why there's no Chattanooga video. Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I'd lost all my footage from that trip. But basically I ended up grabbing a Sony RX 100 V7, so it's a Mark 7, which is a very fancy little camera that shoots awesome video. I
Sonys
love
are
it.
good,
It's a
though.
lot of fun.
I love Sony cameras.
They're good. Yeah, Dr. Tones definitely put in a good word on that one, so thank you to him for that because it's great. And I also have some GoPros that I'm going to be kind of switching to for the winter because I can get it nice and wet, whereas the other camera doesn't do so well in the water and the snow.
Yeah, Sonys aren't, especially that one. That's quite a piece of kit to wind up getting wet and ruining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's...
If that's what you're running for the cameras now, what are you running for the editing side?
So editing, actually, I've had the same program the whole time, but I've learned how to use it, which is great. Because I did not know how to use it when I first started at all.
Right, we all kind of learn as we go.
Man, sometimes I look back, I'm like, how did I not... How did that end up on the internet? Sometimes I'm thinking like I should probably take one of my videos down, re-release it without having it, but I think it's part of the learning experience.
Yeah, I would say so. It's good because you can look back on it and see the evolution, so to speak, how you've progressed in your editing.
Yeah.
So what is the software then that you're using?
So I use Pinnacle Studio, which, it's pretty good. You buy it once, you don't have to subscribe to it or anything, which is the key. I like that.
Right. A little pricey.
Yeah, I think it's like $100, which I know isn't cheap, but with how much editing I do, having something that's reliable and works and I can do all things quickly. I'm able to kind of sort my footage by trip, I guess, and kind of put things together that way and do some automatic stuff, and it uploads automatically for me. Like, that's awesome. I like, the less I have to worry about, the better.
True, definitely. And looks like you've been putting quite a bit of thought into your thumbnails. Yes, I've gotten very artistic with it. Still using the Pinnacle there, or a different form of photo editing software?
Thumbnails, I do like so many different things. I really like, I do it all on my phone actually. So I take the pictures from either still footage from the videos, or sometimes I will just take a picture, or somebody will take a picture of me when I'm out. And I'll answer your question in a second, Scott. But so as far as the phone editing, I actually have an app on my phone called Adobe Photoshop Mix that I'm looking at right here. That's how I use to cut out the different like coins to put them in there. Mm-hmm. And then my favorite picture editing thing for just tweaking things to make them look a little brighter, nicer, whatever, is Snapseed. That's an app there too. And I just love that. And a lot of
I know
really
with
good
the
photographers that use it.
With the YouTubers in here and everything, a lot of us know that that thumbnail can make quite the difference.
Yes. I've been learning a bit about that. There seems to be some things that work and some things that don't.
Right. And there was a question,
Brandon says.
And there was a question from Scott in the chat, apparently, that you wanted to get to?
Yeah, so how about editing on your phone, iMovie? So I don't have an iPhone, Scott, so I don't know about iMovie. Filmora Go on the phone is good. Ohio Relic Hunter wants to know if I have any advice on how to have a thumbnail that draws less attention. Less attention?
That's contradictory. That's completely the opposite way.
Yeah, we gotta know. Hold up. Explain that to me real quick, Ohio Relic Hunter.
Right. We don't want less attention. We want more.
Yep.
Of course, I guess some of them out there, who knows, maybe. Of course, that is coming from Ohio Relic Hunter, so that may be the way of the introvert.
Oh, Doug, that's not nice. Man, they're being stone cold over here in the chat.
Oh boy.
To each other, it's okay. No, but try to stay under the radar. Probably just put one of those really blurry pictures of like a wheat penny in your hand. People tend to not like those hand pictures. Anything in your hand, people are like, why is your hand in the picture?
Especially if it's defocused.
Yes, especially blurry hands. Nobody likes blurry hands.
Right. Doesn't seem to matter what the find is. If it's blurry, they're not interested. Got to have good clear photos or even video, or they'll tear you up on that. I know I got raked over the coals pretty good a couple of months ago. Quite a number of comments of it's quite possible. I'm not going to guarantee it, and so disclaimer, but it's quite possible that I may have given people seizures.
Uh-oh. That's definitely frowned upon.
Yeah. It was not a good day fielding the hate mail from that.
Ooh. I haven't gotten any hate mail from the... Well, actually, no. I've gotten hate messages, but not any mail. So that's...
Well, yeah, it was all coming through messages or just comments, but...
oh, yeah, I know. But,
usually once I explained the situation of the day, then those that weren't very happy were a little more understanding after that.
That's good.
So
yeah.
That definitely helps. But yeah, no thumbnails to attract less attention.
Well, I did find that one thing I found that was very strange is like anything where your face isn't close up in the thumbnail. I guess this helps people who actually want their thumbnails to get attention. If people can see your face close up and they can tell that you're a person and you're there and you're smiling or you're, reacting or you're somebody that they think it's going to be interesting, they're more likely to watch it. The video that I have where I'm not looking at the camera and you can't even see my face at all, like completely, it bombed. It was a good video. I mean, it did very poorly. And I think that's part of why. So that's something to keep in mind. I've noticed that anything where I'm not looking or making eye contact or you can't really see me, it doesn't do as well.
So you've noticed then in terms of, say, the thumbnail from a creator perspective, it tends to help more having a photo of yourself in the thumbnail as opposed to the finds themselves?
Well, I definitely think both. I think both is important because if it's just, just my face, it's kind of weird. But
right.
If it's just my finds, I mean, I find that, I personally like looking through YouTube and being able to see somebody's face and say, oh, I know them, because it makes it, people know you. They know who you are. They see your face. They say, oh, okay. Yeah, that's Maya. Okay. And they know to click. It's like, you'll be scrolling through, you'll see a Hoover Boys video, or you see, Brandon, Dr. Tones, and you're like, okay, yeah, there he is. I think it's just faster for them to realize who you are. And it's just easier. And
that is a good point. Yeah, that is a good point, because a lot of people sometimes they may not look at the channel name or maybe not even associate the channel name at first.
Yeah.
Because when you get that notification, I mean, the thumbnail is right there.
Yeah, the name is very, very small. I mean, yes, your channel name is important and you want to have a good channel name. Or if you don't want to get any attention, maybe a bad channel name, but
right. There's always the advice for the way of the introvert.
Yes. Yeah. Brandon says, unless they hate you, then you miss the click. Yes. But I think if they hate me, I was already going to miss the click, so it's okay.
Right. Yeah. It's all about catching that click. The keywords, the title, the thumbnail. There's a lot of people, and I think I saw Scott even make reference to this earlier on in the chat, since he's just recently started his YouTube channel. People that don't do YouTube, they, especially in, like I say, the reference with Scott, they find themselves having a new respect for YouTube creators once they try to get into it themselves. A lot of people don't realize how much time and effort and work can go into this. Like if they click on Maya's video and they watch say a 12-minute video of what you were out doing for that particular video, they don't realize the maybe hours of filming that it went into that, and then the hours of editing and reviewing to make sure everything looked right to you, and then the upload. They just get that 12 minutes that you may have yourself between filming, editing, uploading. You may have as many as 18, 24, maybe more hours in.
Yeah, I completely hear you on the, I have so much more respect. Not that I didn't respect anybody before, because I did, but when I first started the channel, I had no idea.
What you were getting into?
I had no idea. I was completely, oh man. It is so much work. I have so much respect, for people like Riley and for people, like Brandon and just everybody who puts so many videos out and so much good content that's just well edited and well done, and it takes hours and hours. It takes me days sometimes, and I feel bad sometimes because I won't put a video out. I was putting them out once a week for a while, but now I'm pretty much every other week, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I want to make sure that I put out good content, because putting out content just to put out content isn't necessarily the correct answer, I find. So sometimes I don't get enough stuff in a hunt, or sometimes I don't have enough footage that I can edit into something. Or I need more time, life gets in the way. I can't edit a whole episode. So it takes a lot of time.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I see, say, Brandon, for example, when he uploads a video, I try to make sure to take the time to watch it in its entirety, because it's almost kind of, wow, I realize how much work that the creator puts into it. I almost hate to just watch half of it and and leave a comment and go because of time restrictions or whatever.
Oh yeah. And I mean, Brandon's in his own category. He's an artist, literally. But he's incredible. But yeah, I mean, in general, like we put a lot of work into it. So when people go and they comment and they share and they subscribe, we really do see that and we do appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you said, taking that time because we're putting ourselves out there, We're spending all this time and we just really want to bring everybody with us. So we appreciate y'all coming along.
And especially when you get those comments or messages of, hey, great job or great find, or you've, like with, Merrill, when you got the message from him of, my daughter's your biggest fan. I mean, those compliments really are appreciated.
Yeah, that just made my everything. That is, it's always been a dream. Like, I didn't realize that it was a dream until I got that message from Merrill, but I had always wanted to be able to inspire, younger generations. Like I said earlier, especially young girls, because I feel like, it's definitely a hobby that is becoming more. I mean, yes, there have been females all along, but I think we're getting more known.
Right.
And I'd never want to hear that there's a little girl who's not out there metal detecting because she doesn't think she should or she can or whatever. I wanted everybody to all, be out there digging, having fun together. So I like being able to inspire little girls as well as little boys.
Right. Especially the little girls, though, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of a soft spot there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's different being a woman in the hobby. Just people treat you different and it's all that. So it's just an extra. Yeah. Ohio Relic Hunter says he enjoys digging with females, less drama.
Yeah. I gotta hand it to him.
Sometimes no.
Yeah. That's kind of a 50-50. Sometimes it is beneficial. Other times, maybe not so much.
Yep. Depends on the digger.
Yeah, exactly. Likewise, though, you get that from the other side of the spectrum as well. I mean, there are plenty of male diggers out there as well that seem like they just live for drama. I don't,
it is.
I don't quite get it. Some of these people, if they would put half as much of that effort into getting out there and trying to find something, we'd see a lot more stuff getting posted on Facebook.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of energy wasted in, whatever they're doing, just get out there and dig and have fun. And yeah, there's relics to be had. Stop wasting time on Facebook and chat groups and all that.
Get off the couch and get out there.
Yep. That's, it's, whenever I get that, somebody was saying, what do you get for hate mail? But, whenever I read a nasty message, I'm just like, it's okay. 'Cause I'm going to go out digging and they're going to sit there and look at their Facebook chat and say, oh my goodness, she's not responding to me. She must be out digging.
Right. Don't play the game. Don't feed into the fire.
Don't play the game. Yep.
Definitely. So I guess we've actually kept you on a little longer than we were planning to. We should probably be moving along. Then any parting words of wisdom, so to speak, encouragement to new diggers, something that maybe you've had different issues or hurdles that you've had to overcome, where if you would have known ahead of time, it would have made the path a little easier?
Oh man. That's my parting comment? Nah, really just don't stop. Just keep going. There's so much to learn, so much to do. I mean, at first I didn't realize, you get discouraged when you first start. because you see all these people on Facebook and YouTube digging crazy stuff. And that's a big thing too, is we don't dig amazing stuff all the time. We do not. I still dig nails and cans and everything because I'm just hoping that I'll find something.
Right.
That
Don't
sounds
let
like a
us
can or a
fool you.
nail.
We're all out there digging trash.
Yeah. So just keep at it. Just keep going, keep digging, keep knocking on those doors. Don't listen to the haters. Just keep doing what you love and you'll do very well and you'll never know what you're going to find.
Well, I guess for those who may not realize, which I don't know what sort of rock they've been hiding under if they don't realize, but go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you as well. I mean, we do have the links in the description, but sometimes it's nice to mention it on the air, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm everywhere, as we said, but the YouTube channel is like the main thing lately. So it's one word, MISSDETECTORIST, MISSDETECTORIST on YouTube. If you type it into Google, you should actually see everything. My channel pops up. You can't put a space in there. You got to keep no space. My Instagram, my Facebook, and my YouTube should all be up there. It's all the same thing. MISSDETECTORIST, no space.
Right. Kind of like if they search for Beyond Sight and Sound. Google is your friend.
Yes. Yep. But if you put I find if you put a space in between Miss and Detectorist, you get the really funny show, The Detectorists. So,
yeah,
great show, but
I have noticed that does tend to throw things off a bit if you're trying to search for you for some reason.
Yes, I just have to get more famous than that show. That's the the hurdle.
I think you may have your work cut out for you.
I know. It's a great show. It's really funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Recently we had Connecticut Todd on the show again, and that's before we even went live. He's like, I've got the show The Detectorists on in the background with the sound off, of course, because we're going to do the show, but I've got the mood set.
Yeah, it's so funny. Oh my goodness. But yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on, Josh. I love your show. So I really appreciate it. You do a very good job.
It has definitely been a pleasure to have you back. I mean, like I said, that was January, and it just seems like this year has blown up for you. So continued success, definitely.
That's the plan. That's the hope.
Right. You never know where it's going, but it sounds like you're definitely in it for the ride.
Yeah, so we'll probably see you back again at some point, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure the listeners would enjoy that as well. Your audio has always been just stellar. It makes things so much easier from a podcast creator perspective. A lot less work goes into carrying the archive over to the YouTube channel for those that follow it on YouTube that way. So, I guess we'll go ahead and roll on out of here. Hang in there with me for a few minutes, Maya. And everyone else, if you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like right here. You can follow us on Spreaker, the podcast distribution services, Beyond Sight and Sound page on Facebook, Beyond Sight and Sound group, Ohio Metal Detecting on YouTube. And don't forget and check out our friends over at Shooters and Prospectors, Extreme Scoops, Detectees.com, XP Team USA, Metal Detecting NYC. The list just goes on and on and on. Don't forget we are still doing the Great Christmas Giveaway, and we will be back Sunday with Barb to discuss our 2019 Fall Field Safety and Medical Awareness show. That's right, it's that time of the year again. Until the next one, folks, have a wonderful night. We're out of here.